The Frequency of God, presented by Boundless Books Audio. Introduction. Welcome to Boundless Books Audio. In this audiobook, we'll explore what mainstream science ignored: how your brain doesn't just think, it vibrates. Those vibrations, when tuned correctly, can shift your state of consciousness, activate your heart's intelligence, and align you with a new version of reality. So whether you're feeling stuck, overthinking your next move, or just sensing that there's more to life than what meets the eye, this journey is for you. Listen to this audiobook with an open heart and mind. Whether you are a spiritual seeker or someone who seeks proof from science to believe, you will find something valuable in this audiobook that will change your life. Chapter 1: The Science of Hemispheric Synchronization. Your brain isn't just an organ, it's an electrical symphony, an energetic conductor of your thoughts, emotions, and perception of reality. At every moment, it hums with frequency. What modern science has only recently begun to understand is this: when the two hemispheres of your brain sync up, something extraordinary happens. This phenomenon is called hemispheric synchronization. It occurs when your left brain, the seat of logic, structure, and language, works in perfect harmony with your right brain, the source of intuition, imagination, and emotion. Think of it like stereo speakers suddenly tuned into the same rhythm, producing a fuller, richer sound. But in this case, the sound is your perception. Your mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more attuned to deeper layers of reality. The Monroe Institute, founded by Robert Monroe, pioneered this field using sound. Frequencies known as binaural beats have discovered a way to induce specific brain wave states, especially in the alpha and theta ranges, by guiding each hemisphere of the brain to hear slightly different tones. The brain, in turn, attempts to reconcile the difference, and in doing so, it begins to vibrate in unison. Let's take a closer look at these 5 primary brain wave states because understanding them is key to mastering your mental landscape. Beta, 13 to 30 Hz. This is the alert thinking mind. It's where problem-solving, analyzing, and multitasking occur, but also where stress, anxiety, and burnout thrive. Most people live here by default. Alpha, 8 to 12 Hz. A calm, focused state. This is the gateway between the conscious and subconscious. Artists, athletes, and meditators tap into alpha when they're in the zone. Theta, 4 to 8 Hz. The dreamlike state of deep meditation and hypnosis. This is where subconscious reprogramming happens. It's also where creativity, healing, and spiritual insight emerge. Delta, 0.5 to 4 Hz. Deep sleep, cellular repair, pure restoration. You're unconscious here, but your body is deeply active. Gamma, 30 to 100 Hz. This high-frequency state is associated with peak performance, enlightenment, and the integration of complex ideas. It's rare, but when both hemispheres fire in sync, gamma waves spike. Now here's where it gets fascinating: when both hemispheres of your brain drop into the alpha-theta bridge simultaneously. You unlock a state of heightened receptivity and flow. You become emotionally grounded but mentally open. Intuition sharpens, you feel connected to everything and detached from stress, time, and worry. And guess what frequency that state aligns with? 7.83 Hz. That's the Schumann resonance, the Earth's natural heartbeat. This means, when you enter this alpha-theta state, your brain literally synchronizes with the planet. You're not just in flow, you are in resonance with nature itself. Ancient mystics have accessed this state through meditation for centuries. They didn't need EEG machines or fancy technology, they felt it, they lived it. And now, modern science is finally catching up. This is why high-level performers, whether CEOs, athletes, or visionary creators, seem to operate from another realm. Their brains are in sync, logic doesn't fight intuition. Action flows from clarity, ideas arrive without force. But you don't have to be a monk or millionaire to access this. You just need to train your brain. And that begins with understanding coherence, not just between hemispheres, but between heart and mind. True power comes when thought and emotion move as one, when your purpose is aligned with your presence. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore how to tap into this state consciously using breath, sound, and awareness. We'll uncover the keys to subconscious reprogramming, identity shifting, and the nonlinear power of outer intention. But for now, remember this: your mind is not broken, your reality is not fixed. You just haven't been in sync. Let's change that. Chapter 2, The Heart-Mind Bridge. If the brain is the control tower of your experience, then the heart is the engine. Most people are taught to live from the mind, to analyze, calculate, and plan their way through life. But the truth is, the mind alone was never meant to be in charge. The mind is a tool, the heart is the compass. When the two work together, you unlock something far greater than logic or feeling alone: inner alignment. This alignment, often called heart-mind coherence, is the bridge between thinking and being. It's the secret behind calm decision-making. Authentic expression and powerful manifestation occur when your intentions and emotions are not at war but in harmony. It's when your energy flows in one direction instead of being scattered across 1,000 subconscious conflicts. But why is this so hard to achieve? Because from a young age, we're conditioned to suppress the heart and overly rely on the mind. Emotions are deemed irrational, desires are labeled selfish, and passion is seen as dangerous. So we push our heart's whispers into silence and tune into the mind's noise instead. The result? Inner conflict, resistance, and a sense of being pulled in two directions. One part of you wants to leap, the other holds back. You want to change careers but fear rejection. You want to love but fear getting hurt, you want to express your truth but fear being judged. This is not a lack of discipline, it's a lack of coherence, the root of outer chaos. When your heart says yes and your mind says no, you don't move forward, you stay stuck in place physically, emotionally, and energetically. And this split doesn't just affect your goals, it affects your frequency. It scrambles your energy field, making it harder to attract opportunities, people, or ideas that match your desires. Every spiritual tradition teaches this truth in one form or another: what is within manifests without. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you are in harmony with. If your thoughts and feelings are pulling in opposite directions, you send a mixed signal to life, and life reflects that back to you as confusion, stagnation, or disappointment. So how do we fix this? We stop trying to fight the mind and instead integrate it. We teach the mind to support the heart. This is where the real power lies, not in bypassing logic, but in training it to serve the deeper wisdom within you. The science of coherence. Modern research from the HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart emits a powerful electromagnetic field. Far stronger than the brain, in this field carries emotional information and affects not only your own biology but also the energy of those around you. When you experience elevated emotions like gratitude, love, or compassion, your heart rhythm becomes smooth and harmonious. Your nervous system calms down, and your brain starts to operate more efficiently. In other words, you shift into coherence physiologically and energetically. This coherence isn't just about feeling good, it's about entering a state where your biology and consciousness become optimized. It's the state where healing occurs faster, decisions become easier, and manifestation becomes natural. When your heart and mind operate as one, your energy field stabilizes, and that field communicates with everything around you. You don't have to try so hard to create your reality, reality starts to respond to your very presence. But coherence isn't something that just happens, it must be practiced, cultivated, and invited. Accessing the bridge. So how do you activate the heart-mind bridge? There are many paths, but the foundation always begins with awareness and breath. The breath is the thread that connects the conscious and subconscious, the mind and the body. When you breathe with intention, you signal safety to your nervous system, you quiet the mental chatter, you open the gates to the heart. Here's a simple exercise: sit comfortably. Close your eyes, place one hand on your heart. Inhale for 6 seconds, feeling the breath move into your heart space. Exhale for 6 seconds, releasing tension from your mind. As you breathe, bring to mind a memory or person that fills you with love or appreciation. It could be a moment of triumph, a beloved friend, or a peaceful place. Let that emotion expand in your chest, feel it deeply. Continue breathing with that feeling for 2 to 3 minutes. This is the beginning of heart-brain synchronization. It's not visualization, it's not logic, it's feeling, deep, embodied, and coherent. And once that emotional state is activated, you can use it to plant a new intention, one that comes not just from your head but from your whole being. For example, I am ready to receive clarity about my path. I choose to act with confidence and peace. I allow my desires to flow to me with ease. The emotion charges the intention, the coherence amplifies the effect, and from this state, your reality begins to shift not because you forced it to, but because you aligned with it. The inner GPS. The more time you spend in this state of coherence, the more sensitive you become to life's subtle nudges. Your intuition sharpens, you begin to sense when something is right or wrong without overthinking. You start to move with life rather than against it. This is when synchronicities become normal. Ideas come in dreams, the right person calls, you feel a deep trust in your own path. You begin to navigate reality like a master, not a struggler, and best of all, you stop needing validation because your direction doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. You are now living from your center. Benefits of a united heart and mind. When heart and mind align, the effects ripple through every aspect of your life. Improved decision-making. Decisions made from a balanced state are more intuitive and wise. You are less likely to act impulsively and more inclined to choose what resonates with your true values. Emotional resilience. Coherent states equip you to handle adversity with grace. By drawing strength from your heart, you become more adaptable and grounded in the face of change. Enhanced creativity and problem solving. When your mind is clear and your heart is open, you tap into a wellspring of creativity. New ideas flow effortlessly, and solutions appear that once felt unattainable. Stronger relationships. Authentic connection emerges from emotional clarity when you operate from coherence, you communicate more compassionately and listen more deeply, fostering healthier, more supportive relationships. The legacy of the bridge. Ancient wisdom traditions have long revered the union of heart and mind. Mystics, sages, and spiritual masters across cultures understood that true enlightenment comes from a state where thought and emotion are in perfect sync. They practiced meditation, mindful movement, and heart-opening rituals to nurture this sacred union, a truth that modern neuroscience is only now beginning to illuminate. By cultivating this bridge, you open yourself to a deeper level of existence, a reality not defined solely by external conditions or transient thoughts but by an inner unshakable wholeness. This is the promise of the heart-mind bridge, a life lived in alignment with your innermost truth, where every moment is infused with the power of presence and every decision is guided by the wisdom of the heart. As you continue this journey, remember that every practice, every breath, and every moment of awareness is a step toward a life where your true nature, the seamless integration of heart and mind, can shine forth. Embrace this daily discipline and let the bridge transform your reality from the inside out. Chapter 3: Bypassing the Gatekeeper. Rewiring subconscious resistance. Your subconscious mind is powerful, far more powerful than your conscious willpower. It runs your habits, filters your perception, and determines the limits of what you believe is possible. But it has a guardian, the gatekeeper. This gatekeeper is the analytical mind, a protective mechanism that filters suggestions and ideas before they can be accepted by your subconscious. Its job is to maintain consistency with your existing beliefs, even if those beliefs no longer serve. You see, when you say, "I am successful," but your subconscious believes you're not, the gatekeeper steps in and says, "That's not true." And the affirmation bounces right off. No change, no shift, no results. The gatekeeper is not your enemy, it's your defense mechanism. But if you want to create lasting change, you must learn how to bypass it. Why does the gatekeeper exist? The gatekeeper is formed through repetition and conditioning from childhood. Your environment imprinted beliefs onto your subconscious about what's possible, what's safe, and what's acceptable. These impressions became the rules of your inner world. Every time someone said, "Be realistic, money doesn't grow on trees," or "You're not smart enough for that," your subconscious took notes. Now, as an adult, even when you consciously try to affirm new truths, these old programs still run in the background, quietly sabotaging your progress, not because they're evil, but because your subconscious is loyal to what it already knows. Change threatens the familiar, and the gatekeeper was trained to protect the familiar, even if the familiar is struggle, self-doubt, or limitation. This is why people fail to stick to new habits, affirmations, or routines. They try to change from the surface without reprogramming the source code underneath. To create real transformation, you must reach the subconscious layer, but to do that, you have to go around the gatekeeper, not through it. The language of the subconscious doesn't speak logic, it speaks emotion, repetition, and symbolism. It learns through imagery, metaphor, and most importantly, feeling. This is why a single, traumatic experience can create a deep belief that lasts decades. It wasn't logical, it was emotional, it went deep. To rewire the subconscious, we must speak in its native tongue. This means working with visualization, the imagination, hypnotic states, lower brain wave frequencies, elevated emotions like gratitude, love, joy, and repetition during low-resistance states, morning and night. This is not about tricking the subconscious, it's about making it receptive enough to consider new truths. When the mind is open, remember this, the analytical gatekeeper relaxes during alpha and theta brainwave states, those exact frequencies you access during deep meditation, hypnosis, or just before sleep and after waking. This is why the first 10 minutes after waking up and the last 10 minutes before sleep are golden. The conscious mind is groggy, the gatekeeper is drowsy, and your subconscious is listening. This is the perfect time to install new beliefs. But here's the key, you can't just repeat affirmations robotically. You must feel them. You must generate the inner chemistry of the new identity. If you're affirming wealth but feeling lack, the subconscious stores the lack. But if you say, "I am abundant," with a deep sense of gratitude as if it's already real, then the subconscious begins to believe it, not because it's rational, but because it feels real. Installing a new identity, the gatekeeper resists change that feels too different from your current identity. So rather than jumping from "I'm broke" to "I'm a millionaire," start with bridge beliefs. I'm open to new possibilities, it's becoming easier to receive abundance, my identity is evolving every day. These affirmations don't trigger resistance. They're palatable to the gatekeeper. They slip through the filter and begin to build a new foundation. Once that foundation is in place, you can begin to expand it. Eventually, you will no longer need bridge beliefs, you will have stepped into a new energetic reality, and the subconscious will support it. Two-step rewiring method. Let's simplify the process into a two-step formula. Step 1. Enter a receptive state. Use breath work or heart coherence to lower your brain waves. Shift into alpha or theta, morning, night, or during a meditation break in your day are ideal. Step 2. Imprint the desired reality while in this calm, open state. Visualize the desired outcome as already achieved. Feel the emotions associated with that reality: joy, pride, love, excitement. Repeat short, powerful affirmations that align with the new identity. For example, if you want to attract a loving partner, visualize a scene where you're laughing with them at the kitchen table. You feel warmth, safety, connection. You affirm, "I am deeply loved. I radiate connection. I am ready to receive." Done consistently, this practice builds a new emotional blueprint within your subconscious, and reality follows suit. What gets in the way? There's one main reason people don't reprogram their subconscious: they don't stick with it. The gatekeeper thrives on doubt and inconsistency. If you try something for 3 days, don't see results, and stop, it wins. But if you continue daily, even just 5 minutes, your subconscious begins to trust the new input. And trust is everything, because once it believes a new identity is safe, it stops fighting and starts cooperating. Real-world applications. Let's say you've been struggling to grow your income. You've tried strategies, courses, coaching, but nothing sticks. Chances are, your subconscious has a financial ceiling, a belief that says, "This is all I deserve." No business strategy will override that belief, it will simply sabotage your efforts behind the scenes through procrastination, fear, guilt, or burnout. But when you start working with your subconscious, when you align your inner story with your outer goals, you remove the brakes. You don't need to force action, it becomes natural. Opportunities appear, people respond to your new energy, the world changes because you changed first. Become the messenger. Your subconscious is not your obstacle, it's your messenger. It shows you through your reality what you still believe. Instead of fighting it, listen to it. When resistance shows up, get curious. Why does this feel unsafe? What old belief is being triggered here? Where did I learn this story, and is it still true? Awareness softens the gatekeeper, curiosity opens the door, and feeling opens the vault. So remember, you don't need to fight your mind, you only need to train it to serve your highest self. And once that happens, once the gatekeeper stands aside, your subconscious becomes your most powerful ally in creating the life you were born to live. Chapter 4, Aligning with the Schumann Resonance, Earth's Natural Frequency. Have you ever walked barefoot on the grass and felt instantly calmer? Or found your thoughts clearer after sitting quietly under the stars? These are not random sensations, they are biological and energetic responses to something ancient and invisible, a natural frequency that pulses beneath your feet, through the air, and inside the very fabric of life itself. It's called the Schumann resonance, and when your brain aligns with it, something extraordinary happens. You don't just feel more peaceful, you become more powerful. What is the Schumann resonance? In 1952, physicist Winfried Otto Schumann discovered that the space between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere acts like a resonant cavity. Within that cavity, electromagnetic waves bounce and stabilize at a very specific frequency, approximately 783 Hz. This frequency became known as the Schumann resonance, the Earth's heartbeat. But here's the real kicker, 7.83 Hz just happens to overlap with the alpha-theta brainwave threshold, the same range you access during deep meditation, visualization, hypnosis, and flow state. Coincidence or cosmic design? When your brain syncs up with this frequency, you enter coherence not just within yourself, but with the planet itself. The science behind your brain's connection is electrical, it hums with rhythmic oscillations measurable in hertz that dictate how you think, feel, and act. Beta waves dominate when you're alert and problem-solving, alpha waves appear when you're calm, focused, and reflective, and theta waves emerge in deep meditation, intuition, and subconscious access. Now imagine tuning your internal frequency, your brain waves, to match the planet's. What happens? You enter what researchers and mystics call resonance, a state of deep harmony between internal and external energy fields. In this state, you feel grounded yet elevated, your nervous system relaxes, creativity flows effortlessly, intuition sharpens, manifestation becomes quicker and more fluid. And most importantly, resistance fades. Ancient wisdom meets modern science. Long before EEGs and frequency monitors, ancient mystics, monks, and sages accessed this state intuitively. They didn't know the number 7.83 Hz, but they knew the feeling. They meditated in caves, walked barefoot on the earth, practiced breath control, and used sound to shift their state of being. Why? Because the closer they were to the earth, the more coherent their body and mind became. They didn't need science to confirm it, they lived it. Today, science is catching up. Studies show that when people meditate deeply or practice heart coherence, their brain waves naturally settle around the alpha-theta threshold, precisely where the Schumann resonance lives. Why this matters for you: if you're trying to manifest a better life, better health, deeper love, greater wealth, you need to harmonize your frequency with what you're trying to attract. But if your brain is constantly in beta overdrive, distracted, anxious, overstimulated, you're out of tune with the natural flow of creation. You're not aligned. That's why you feel blocked, stuck, overwhelmed. But here's the good news: alignment is not a mystery, it's a practice. The Schumann resonance gives you a blueprint on how to synchronize with Earth's frequency. Let's get practical. How do you align with this natural pulse? 1. Grounding/earthing. Go outside, take your shoes off, and let your bare feet touch the earth, grass, sand, dirt, even stone. Why? Because the earth emits free electrons that neutralize inflammation and stress in your body. Just 15 to 30 minutes of grounding daily can regulate cortisol, improve sleep, and recalibrate your nervous system. You're literally plugging into the earth's energy field. 2. Binaural beats and isochronic tones. Use sound frequencies to guide your brain into alpha or theta. Binaural beats work by playing two slightly different tones in each ear, producing a third frequency your brain entrains to. Look for tracks tuned to 7.83 Hz or a combination of alpha-theta ranges. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can rewire your brain over time. Third, heart-mind coherence meditation. As we explored in Chapter 2, when your heart and brain enter coherence, your entire energy field stabilizes. Practicing slow, rhythmic breathing while feeling elevated emotions like love and gratitude activates this state and nudges you into resonance with the Earth's frequency. Fourth, sunrise and sunset exposure. The Schumann resonance is most stable when solar activity is low, early morning and evening. These moments are energetically optimal for meditation, visualization, or any form of inner work. Sunlight also helps regulate your circadian rhythm, improving your natural flow with Earth's cycles. What you'll feel as your brain entrains to the Schumann resonance: subtle but powerful changes begin to emerge. You feel more present even in chaos, mental fog lifts, and you begin to think clearly. You stop overreacting to problems and respond from a deeper place. You stop chasing outcomes and attract them instead. You'll know you're aligned not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer need everything to be. You operate from a calm certainty that reality is responding to your inner state because it is. From frequency to destiny, here's the core insight: your frequency creates your filter. When you're vibrating in beta stress, you miss opportunities, repel solutions, and interpret everything as a threat. But when you're vibrating in harmony, in alpha-theta resonance with the earth, you become a magnet for clarity, abundance, and synchronicity. This is not just a metaphor. It's measurable. Your heart emits an electromagnetic field that influences others. Your brain in coherence sends stronger signals. Your very biology shifts and your destiny shifts with it. Return to the pulse. You don't have to climb a mountain or isolate in a monastery to access this. You simply have to tune in each day. The earth pulses beneath you, a silent signal, a stabilizing heartbeat, a reminder of your place in the grand design. When you align with it, you don't just feel better, you become better, clearer, calmer, more connected. Your energy synchronizes with nature's rhythm, and in that rhythm, you remember something powerful: you were never separate, you were only out of tune. Now you know how to return. Chapter 5, Identity Alchemy, Becoming Who You Were Meant to Be. There comes a point on every transformational journey where strategy is no longer enough. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts, you've applied the techniques, and yet something still feels off. Progress is slow, motivation fades, your vision feels like it belongs to someone else. Why? Because your identity hasn't changed. And here's the simple truth most people overlook: you cannot create a new reality from the same identity that built the old one. In this chapter, we explore the deeper mechanics of identity, not as a fixed label but as a living frequency, a field of assumptions, self-concepts, and energetic patterns that shape what you believe, how you act, and ultimately what you experience. This is identity alchemy, the art of transforming who you think you are into who you were meant to be. The illusion of the static self. Most people live under the illusion that identity is static. They say things like, "I'm just not a morning person, I'm not creative, I've always been shy, that's just not me." These statements feel like facts, but they're not facts, they're agreements made long ago and reinforced over time. Maybe your teacher once told you that you were bad at writing. Maybe your parents praised you only when you were quiet and obedient. Maybe you failed once at starting a business and now call yourself not cut out for it. But none of this is you. These are stories stitched together by emotion, memory, and repetition. And the longer you live inside these stories, the more your life reflects them. The truth about identity is not something you're born with, it's something you wear like a set of clothes that once fit but now restricts you. And here's the good news: what was once programmed can be reprogrammed, what was once assumed can be rewritten. Who you are can evolve into who you choose to be. You are not your past, you are not your traumas, you are not your old beliefs. You are the awareness behind all of that, and that awareness can choose differently at any moment. But change doesn't happen through force, it happens through alignment. It begins when your current identity becomes too small for your soul. The identity loop: why change feels hard. To understand identity alchemy, we need to explore the loop that keeps most people stuck. Beliefs shape thoughts, thoughts influence actions, actions create results, results reinforce identity. It's a closed circuit, and if the beliefs at the core are limiting, the entire loop reinforces limitations. For example, you believe you're bad with money, so you avoid financial decisions, which leads to poor financial outcomes, reinforcing your belief, "See, I'm bad with money." This loop is self-fulfilling, not because it's true, but because it's running unconsciously. The only way out is to interrupt the loop at its source: identity. Who are you without the old mask? Before you can step into who you're becoming, you must question who you've been. Ask yourself, what roles have I been playing to stay accepted? What limitations have I internalized to feel safe? What parts of myself have I abandoned to fit in? These questions are not easy. But they are essential because most people aren't afraid of failure, they're afraid of identity death. They fear letting go of the version of themselves they've clung to for years, even if it's a version built on fear, guilt, or unworthiness. But hear this: the real you is not something you find, it's what remains when all that is false is gone. This is the sacred burn of identity alchemy. You're not becoming someone new, you're remembering who you always were, the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Let's talk about embodiment. To shift your identity, you don't wait until life gives you permission, you act as if not to fake it, but to signal your readiness. The confident version of you, how do they speak? The abundant version of you, how do they make decisions? The aligned version of you, what do they say no to? This is not about pretending. It's about creating energetic coherence between your internal self-concept and your external behaviors. When both align, the universe mirrors that congruence. You become a match for new experiences, not because you forced them, but because you became the person who naturally attracts them. The identity shift process. Here's a simple but powerful process you can use to begin your shift. Step 1. Define the desired identity. Who do you want to be, not in terms of goals, but in terms of essence? Write down, I am someone who trusts themselves deeply. I am someone who creates with ease. I am someone who follows through. Keep it short, keep it clear. This is your core frequency. Step 2. Observe the old identity. Notice the stories, habits, and patterns of your current identity. Ask, what thoughts keep showing up? What emotional states feel familiar? What actions do I take that reinforce who I've been? Awareness interrupts automation. Step 3. Create evidence loops. Start behaving in ways that reinforce the new identity, even in small ways. Speak up when you'd usually stay silent. Invest in yourself like someone who values their worth. Move through fear instead of waiting for it to disappear. These shifts don't need to be perfect, they just need to be conscious, and every small action becomes evidence. See, this is who I am now. Identity and frequency. Your identity isn't just psychological, it's energetic. You emit a signal with every assumption you hold about yourself, and that signal either attracts your desires or repels them. So if you keep affirming, visualizing, and scripting, but your core frequency says, "I'm not enough," you're transmitting mixed signals. The key is to bring your energetic signature into alignment with your desired reality, and that starts with owning a new identity. Your return to self-identity alchemy is not about becoming someone else. It's about dissolving the masks you were never meant to wear. It's about burning the false self with the fire of truth. It's about stepping fully into your original design, the version of you that doesn't need to prove, chase, or fight. The version of you that remembers their worth. Because once you embody the identity of your highest self, everything around you begins to shift. You don't beg the world to change, you become the change, and the world responds accordingly. Chapter 6 Practical Tips to Enter Alpha-Theta States. Accessing Alpha-Theta brainwave states isn't a mystery, it's a trainable, repeatable process that any conscious creator can master. You don't need exotic rituals or decades of monkhood. What you do need is consistency, stillness, and the right environment. In this chapter, we'll move from theory to practice, showing you how to consciously guide your mind and body into the doorway of the subconscious, because that's exactly what the Alpha-Theta range is, a bridge between your waking logic and your sleeping intuition, a space where healing happens, reality rewires, and the future forms. Let's begin by preparing the body and brain for deeper states of consciousness. 1. Cut the caffeine, exit the beta trap. Caffeine doesn't just energize, it stimulates beta brain wave activity, the very frequency range we're trying to step out of. Beta is where mental chatter dominates, anxiety and hyperalertness thrive, and linear analytical thinking reigns. While this has its uses, solving problems, driving, taking tests, it's a trap for those seeking altered states. To create space for alpha and theta frequencies, we must dial down the internal noise. Reducing or eliminating caffeine helps calm the nervous system, soften mental rigidity, and allow brain waves to slow into a more receptive, creative range. This doesn't mean you have to become anti-coffee forever. But if you want consistent access to deeper states, it's worth taking a break. Even switching to herbal tea or low-caffeine options like green tea can make a huge difference. The goal is simple: no more pouring gasoline on your brain and wondering why it won't relax. 2. Meditate daily with heart-focused breathing. Alpha and theta frequencies emerge naturally when the body is still and the mind is quiet. But there's a shortcut, one that doesn't require years of silent retreats. It's called heart breathing. Here's how it works: sit or lie down in a quiet space, close your eyes, and begin breathing into your heart space, imagining your breath moving in and out of your chest. Inhale slowly for 6 seconds, exhale slowly for 6 seconds. Do this for 3 to 5 minutes. As you breathe rhythmically and gently, focus on your heart. Something powerful happens: your nervous system shifts from fight or flight to rest and repair. Your brain waves begin to slow, often moving from beta into alpha and even theta. Your mind quiets, and the subconscious opens like a flower to the sun. This isn't just meditation. It's entrainment, it's coherence, it's self-regulation at its highest form. Do this once daily, twice if you can, morning and evening. And if you add an elevated emotion, gratitude, love, joy, your heart and mind will begin to synchronize even faster. 3. Use sound frequencies, let the brain follow the beat. Science has shown us something ancient cultures already knew: sound is a doorway to altered states. Binaural beats and hemisync audio technologies use specific frequencies to guide your brain into targeted wave states. Here's how they work: two slightly different tones are played in each ear, the brain perceives a third frequency, the difference between the two, and begins to match it. Want alpha waves, 8 to 12 Hz? Use a track with frequencies tuned to that range. Want theta waves, 4 to 8 Hz? Same principle, different beat. Listening to these for just 15 to 30 minutes a day can help rewire subconscious programs, induce deep relaxation, enhance focus and memory, and open the door to intuitive insight. Make this a part of your daily routine, first thing in the morning, right before sleep, during breath work, or journaling. Over time, your brain learns how to return to these states even without external support. Think of sound frequency tapes as training wheels for deep consciousness. Pro tip: use high-quality headphones and choose tracks from trusted creators like the Monroe Institute, Brain FM, or YouTube channels specializing in theta binaural beats. 4. Create stillness. Create access. Stillness isn't just a luxury in the modern world, it's an energetic necessity. In a world addicted to motion, stimulation, and noise, stillness becomes a portal, a rare signal to your subconscious mind: we're safe, we can go deeper now. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing, it means intentional non-doing. It could look like sitting in silence without your phone for 10 minutes, watching your breath move without controlling it. Listening to the wind, a candle flame, or ambient sounds in nature, letting your thoughts float without attachment. This isn't about discipline, it's about presence. Because only in presence can you access the wisdom that hides beneath your thinking mind. Stillness is the womb of the alpha-theta state. The more often you return to it, the easier it becomes. You may notice deeper intuition throughout your day, ideas that flow with ease, calm responses replacing old emotional triggers. Stillness is the secret passage between worlds. The daily practice blueprint to make this all tangible: here's a simple protocol. Morning alpha access. Wake up and immediately do 5 to 10 minutes of heart breathing. Follow it with 10 to 15 minutes of binaural beats or guided meditation. Visualize your day as already done, feel gratitude now. Afternoon maintain coherence, take a stillness break, 3 to 5 minutes of breath awareness, no phone, walk in nature, ground your energy. Evening theta entry, right before sleep, lie down with a theta sound frequency, drift into your vision, feel your future as already real, say a few heart-centered affirmations. E.g., I am whole. I am aligned. I trust the process. Keep this simple. Don't aim for perfection, aim for presence. Your state is the magnet. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, and your brainwave state determines your magnetic state. The alpha-theta bridge isn't just a hack, it's your birthright. Return to it often, and life will begin to unfold in ways that logic cannot explain, but your heart will recognize. So start today, slow your breath, still your mind, and open the doorway within. Everything you seek is already inside. Open the doorway within, everything you seek is already inside. Chapter 7, Living the Quantum Path, Integration and Embodiment. You've come a long way. By now, you should have an understanding of how to tune into God frequency by understanding hemispheric synchronization to practicing daily altered states. You now hold the keys to a deeper, more expansive way of being, but knowledge without embodiment remains a theory. Practice without integration stays compartmentalized. True transformation begins when these tools don't just live in your journal but in your nervous system, in your breath, in your decisions. This is the quantum path, not a path you follow, but one you become. What does it mean to live the quantum path? Living the quantum path means you're no longer reacting to reality, you're creating it. It means you stop trying to force the future. You stop identifying with your past. You live as if your desired state is already true. It's not about faking it, it's about feeling it. It's not about hustle, it's about harmony. You operate from alignment, not anxiety, from coherence, not confusion, from presence, not panic. The quantum path is subtle, but its results are Unmistakably, you begin to notice people responding differently to your energy, opportunities arising without strain, synchronicities showing up when least expected, and a deeper sense of peace regardless of outcomes. This is not magic, it's magnetic alignment integration where change becomes identity. Most people experience short bursts of inspiration, they meditate for a week, they visualize for a few days, they feel good, and then stop. Why? Because they never cross the threshold from doing to being. Integration means your internal work becomes your automatic operating system. Ask yourself, do I return to coherence when life throws curveballs? Do I respond from my higher self? Not my wounded self? Do I practice presence in the mundane? Do I remember who I am when no one is watching? If not, that's okay, but this chapter is your invitation to cross over. Integration requires 3 things. First, repetition. The brain rewires through consistency. Every time you enter a coherent state or visualize from the wish fulfilled, you're carving a new neural pathway. Repetition doesn't mean mechanical, it means devotional. Second, embodiment. Embodiment means you act like the version of you who already has what they want, not to get results, but because that's who you now are. It's the energy behind your actions that matters, not what you do, but who is doing it. Ask, is this coming from fear or from faith? Third, stabilization. Over time, your emotional home base shifts. You no longer default to frustration, doubt, or resistance. Instead, your baseline becomes clarity, calm, confidence. You become the eye of the storm, still, aware, unmoved. That's when you know you've stabilized a new frequency, the embodied creator. The ultimate goal is not just to know the mechanics of creation, it's to become the kind of person who naturally creates, to be someone who thinks in alignment, speaks with power, moves with certainty, breathes with intention, loves without conditions. This isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. Living the quantum path means you stop looking for the light and start realizing you are the light. Micro moments of mastery. Here's something most people overlook. Big shifts happen in small choices. When you catch yourself falling into old thought loops and pause, when you respond with compassion instead of defensiveness, when you choose alignment over urgency, these are micro moments of mastery. Celebrate them, they are the proof that transformation is happening. In fact, you don't need to wait for some massive manifestation to feel successful. Every time you choose coherence over chaos, you are winning. Every time you choose faith over fear, you are creating. Every time you choose presence over programming, you are living the quantum path, your new way of being. So what does it look like when you've truly embodied this path? You may still face challenges, yes, but you approach them differently. You know that pain has a purpose, that contrast leads to clarity, that your internal frequency matters more than external noise. You're no longer chasing, you're attracting. You're no longer resisting, you're receiving. You're no longer surviving, you're creating. And from this place, you become magnetic. You draw in people, resources, opportunities that match your state. Not because you need them, but because they reflect who you've already become. That is the quantum paradox. When you stop needing, you start receiving. From student to creator, if you've listened to this audiobook up to this point, you're no longer just a student, you're a creator, a channel, a force. Let this be your reminder, everything you seek already exists inside you. The frequency of your dream life is already being broadcast, all that remains is for you to tune in. Let this audiobook be a beginning, not an ending. Every breath, every step, every pause, is an opportunity to return to the truth. You are not a victim of reality, you are the architect of it. Thanks for listening to Boundless Books Audio, where knowledge fuels transformation. If you found this audiobook valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that helps you unlock your potential.